All right, Matty, welcome back. Ask Matty Show back again. Matty, how are you feeling?
I'm doing great. Just got back from a road trip up to Lake Tahoe, enjoying the weekend up there, but I'm back at my desk, excited, ready to talk about crypto.
That's pretty baller, Matty. Today, Matty, we have a lot of great questions from the team here. Bitcoin questions. Of course, we got Casper questions and team. You're going to want to stick around till the end of the show. I have a question here, and it's a lot of people have this questions or throughout this year about exchanges and stuff. And today, we're back again talking about Uphold, but that will be at the end of the show, so stick around for that. But before we get into the show here, become a Crypto Charge member. Click the link in the pinned comment down below. Go check us out there. We're doing education over there. The community's over there. So tap in with that. But today, team, we are getting into all of your questions. We're wrapping up the year here, and you guys have a lot of good questions today. So we're about to get into it. Matty, are you ready?
Let's do it, baby.
CoolHunter_BTC says, can you chart Bitcoin?
I don't know. Can I? No, I'm just kidding. Yes, I absolutely can chart Bitcoin. Charting is my absolute favorite thing. And if you guys are a Crypto Charge member, you guys know that this is probably like the meat and potatoes of what we do on our educational portion of our live updates. So let's go ahead and take a look at the chart here ourselves. We have the daily chart here up on Bitcoin. And I'm sure you guys are pretty familiar with this look. You know, it's one of my favorite looks to show every day. Of course, we get down on smaller time frames. We look at the 4-hour and sometimes the hourly or the 15-minute, just depending on kind of what we're trying to illustrate if there's a lot of volatility. But from a bigger, grander perspective, let's actually peel out here. Let's go like a 3-day chart so that we can just look at kind of this cycle with some candle bodies. So, you know, we've talked previously about, you know, what Bitcoin did in previous cycles from the 2018 top, cycling down, coming for a retrace back here in 2019, getting flushed out back here in 2020, seeing, of course, that C19 sell-off, still establishing a higher low, right? Still a series of higher highs and higher lows moving forward. And of course, set us on to that 2021 top. Technically got kind of like a double top back here in 2022. So, you know, this, of course, we had a very nasty bear market. We had a lot of extra pressure in this bear market that we didn't necessarily have to have, but a lot of that had to do with over leveraging, under collateralization, fraud, right? We all know kind of some of the things that occurred, and I'm sure that some of you guys were impacted by this. It's unfortunate, but it's, you know, kind of just part of being a part of a new space, is that there are things that are unexpected that happen. So, you know, we set this bottom low, this bear market low around 15,500. So, of course, we're going to grab our Fibonacci from the most recent cycle top. So that's going to be $69,000, give or take. And then we're going to go to the low around 15.5. And, you know, we've just been really grinding aggressively through these Fibonacci. So the only area that we've really kind of spent a little bit of time contending with was the 236, and that was right around $28,000. So, you know, that's kind of where we started to develop this double top, started to kind of trick everyone into thinking the 236 was new support. Actually ended up using this magenta line, which is the 200-week moving average. So that's the last 200 days cumulatively where price, you know, was, right? That's kind of where the average is for that. So we found a strong support in there, finally blasted through, touched the 382 here around 36,000, barely spent any time there, right? It was just kind of like this aggressive bull flag grinding upwards, not any retest of offered around this 31,000 region. And you can see recently we poked over the 50% Fibonacci at 42K, and we're finding a little bit of resistance here, stuttering a little bit. You guys can see that we've also had a lot of these moving averages curling up, the 50-day, the 100-day, the 50-week. They're all starting to curl up here, but we haven't really interacted or backtested them yet. So, you know, even though I think that we're definitely in a retrace, right? It's not really even an opinion anymore. I think that we're seeing a lot of altcoins display this behavior, Bitcoin display this behavior, Bitcoin dominance, adding to the illustration. But even within retracements, and especially within bull markets, right? And I know that there's new participants each and every time. So, you know, go back, look at some of these charts, look at how big and aggressive some of these crashes are, even in the parabolas, right? You get these huge multi-100% rises, 50, 60% crash, super standard, right? So when we get these big breakouts, right, I always get a little bit cautious, right? You get this big breakout without a back test. I start to look at some of these areas of interest and say, are these areas satiated, or do we need to do a back test in here, right? So we can see where I've kind of illustrated this box ranging from, let's say, 28,000 up to 31.5. That is an area of interest where I believe that Bitcoin could revisit and should revisit before moving into a new all-time high. So don't be alarmed if you see some of your altcoins, you know, drop a little bit more dramatically as Bitcoin takes a pullback here. If Bitcoin were to pull back into this box, I would be aggressively longing out of this box, leverage long out of this box. I'd be looking at altcoin levels as Bitcoin approached that level to see what looks very, attractive in relations to strong support levels, right? This is very, very normal behavior. And the longer we march away from these areas of interest without backtesting them, we have a higher likeliness of coming back with a violent backtest, right? So I just want you guys to be aware of that. I'm still looking at 28 to 32,000, give or take, kind of as that area of interest. So if you guys are looking to get into the market and we get those levels presented, that's the place I would look to do it safely.
I have a question here, Matty. So obviously you say Bitcoin has to backtest this level of which it broke out of. So once it backtests this level and you said you want to go long on this, is this where the bull market is going to like take place? Is it only up from there?
I wouldn't say it's only up from there. We're still waiting on, of course, some other fundamental catalyst, I think, to really propel us forward. We're definitely seeing, stock market breakout, right? New all-time high for the Dow Jones was established. We're really, really close on the other indexes. With crypto, we're definitely in a slightly different set of circumstances than the stock market, right? But when we come back down into this level, I'll be looking for the upper retracement levels here. So that'll be probably like the 702 and the 786, so between like 53 and 57,000. Entirely possible we get up there and then get another very large knockback, right? So I'm still going to play this retrace leg by leg because this is kind of the moment I've been waiting for to do some more leverage trading. I always want to try to join the trend that's intact. I always want to try to long to the next level and then take some profit and then look for another pullback, right? Are there going to be situations where price keeps moving on without me on those leverage positions? Yeah, absolutely. But I'd rather secure the bag at those predetermined levels. So that's how I'm playing Bitcoin. That's how I'm playing the altcoin market right now. Of course, my long-term spot bags are packed. Anything that actually is in that DCA zone, I'm still DCing into. Anything that's not in the DCA zone, hands off the wheel, right? I'm just only going to be doing limit-based ordering and leverage longs, even sometimes, just on 15-minute charts. And that's really what this retrace is providing you guys right now is, of course, you can always go leverage long in the bull market. That's easy. But there's a lot of opportunities right now, even between now and let's say Q2 of next year, and let's say that's when they start doing rate cuts, where you can really build a big leverage bag and maybe redistribute that to spot bags or go really, really heavy leverage long as we start to see these parabolas, right? This is a time to kind of, rebake the existing assets you have now and potentially make some more money leverage trading.
SoPro03 says, would you be surprised if this cycle all-time high ends sometime in the middle of this year? I'm guessing he's saying 2024.
Yeah, you're a time traveler, my boy. You're probably talking about 2024. I would be surprised, if the bull market ended in the middle of 2024. It would go against kind of the grain of what we've seen for historical bull markets for all markets, not just crypto, right? Like 12 to 18 months is kind of that period of economic expansion. Now, again, history rhymes, but it's not necessarily exactly the same each and every time, right? But I would be surprised if we just raged and then just stopped middle of summer of 2024. Now, if you're inferring that there won't be any pullbacks in the middle of this, right? Meaning maybe we have a lull through the summer or a lull through the fall, right? Absolutely possible. And that's normal for markets to cool off a bit, even when you're in a bull market. We talked on the show actually the other day, and we were actually discussing a very interesting element, and we were talking about the idea of a recessionary announcement being in an election year or not. And when you look at, like 17 elections, not including the last couple elections, we could probably still get very similar data. Only 23% of the time a recessionary announcement was made during an election year, which is next year here in the United States, right? We do our presidential elections in all that good stuff. And then the remaining recessionary announcements were the year following the election year, right? So again, we're talking about probabilities here. We're not talking about guarantees. We do have examples of where a recession was announced in an election year, but we've had more examples of where that recession was announced in the following year, right? So we're getting in a retracement now, right? Maybe we knock out the bulk of this in 2024 and then get a recessionary announcement sometime in 2025. That would be kind of the ideal. Let's get in, let's get out. And I definitely still want you guys to be cautious, always thinking about taking profits, right? Especially at some of those predetermined levels. That's why we have 3, 4, 5 targets. We're not just looking at one because we want to be able to de-risk. You would absolutely hate yourself if you didn't sell any of your bag, and let's say we get halfway to the top target, you don't sell anything and a recession comes, right? Always secure at least a little bit of the bag at target one, whether that be 20%, 30%, whatever it is for you. Because we can't say it's going to end on this date, right? Bull markets end abruptly, and so do bear markets. So just be prepared for that. Have your targets ready, and plan accordingly.
Ethereum Crypto Scribe 22, interesting name. After you sell those cryptos, what then do you do?
You buy a Lambo and move to Puerto Rico, my guy. So for me, obviously, I've got some toys that I have my eyes on, right? And I want to do those things. I want to invest in a little bit of real estate as well. Buy a little bit of land out here in Southern California for myself to have something separate out here. But the majority of my portfolio is my portfolio, right? It's going back into investing. So the majority of what I make this cycle is going to be in stable coins. I'm going to be leverage trading to the downside when we get confirmation that a top is in, right? Because you don't just make money when the market's long. When we see the market's turned over, we pull back to let's say a 618 after a big knockback there, look to start layering in some shorts. And I'm looking to absolutely short the crypto market after we start to kind of see that top come in, right? And maybe even buy some of the dead cat bounce rallies on the way up, right? So there's always opportunity in the market. Now, of course, we're not going to be able to maybe go, let's say, as heavy. There's not going to be as much, reward as if we were going to be only trading upside versus trading short, right? But I absolutely still believe we're going to have bear markets where we get minus 50, 60, 70, 80%, right? Even if we get that, a lesser and lesser depreciation every time, there's always going to be some bear market to capitalize on, right? And I guess taking that leg by leg, just taking chips out of it, trying to make a little bit of money on the downside, right? And then of course, after we kind of get some of our altcoins down 70, 80, 90%, time to start reaccumulating, right? That's the name of the game. So again, a lot of my strategy is of course, building long-term bags. Of course, the average is going to come up a little bit on them, but as long as I'm consistently buying on deep pullbacks, I'm going to be putting myself in a very good spot. So, that combined with the leverage shorts, that's kind of what I'm going to be doing with the majority of my portfolio post-bull run.
Donald Johnson says, love Casper and all it represents. But does anyone know what percentage of the volume is business usage versus speculative investment?
I would say really like the majority, right? The majority of crypto volume right now is speculative investment, right? Like I can't walk into Bank of America and be like, I would just like to swap my Bitcoin for dollars, right? Like it's not possible. You have plenty of merchants and smaller, individuals who are starting to come online with this stuff. Certain businesses accepting USDC and trying to, build that adoption up. But I wouldn't say that most of crypto usage right now is speculative. Now that's not to say there aren't use cases in real life adoption happening, right? For example, XRP is probably the better example of that, where you have a lot of volume that's extremely ODL based, extremely B2B business, right? Business based. With Casper, it's a new chain, right? Right now, we do have a enterprise gearing up to be deploying. Right now, you can actually go and you can see on the test net, they are testing all the deploys from the IP we minting millions of dollars of intellectual property onto this network, right? So again, I guess you have to ask yourself, right? Do you want to be buying when it's speculative, or do you want to be buying when prices already pop because there's a lot of business and a lot of minting and a lot of actual computational demand on the network? I always want to buy before the wave of computational demand joins the network, because the price of those tokens goes up exponentially, right? So obviously I'd say more speculative than actual, business usage right now, right? And of course we can see that when transactions, most of these are people buying coins off of exchange, storing them, staking them, 70% or more, I believe is locked up right now in the staking protocol, the native staking protocol, which is very, very excellent. So right now it's mostly speculative, but there is real business progressing towards the actual minting and usage of the network.
Willard123 says, are you aware Uphold is gonna delist Casper? Casper, is this true? What do you feel are the best options to move them to?
Stop leaving your coins on exchange. I don't know how many times I have to say it. Uphold's doing some really shady shit right now. I'll be completely honest. So this is only for Canada, right? So I know a lot of you guys read some shit and you guys absolutely lose your minds because you think this applies to absolutely everyone. This is only Canada, and it's not just Casper. There's like a variety of other legitimate assets that they're saying, hey, we need to delist these. Again, this is country by country, right? There's different stages of regulatory clarity we're at based on where we're located in the world. So as time moves on, right, that could change. Here in the US, XRP was basically unaccessible for about 2 years and some change, right? And now it's available on every US exchange again, right? Very likely that Canada, after somebody, whether it's us or the UK or Brazil or whoever it is, establishes clean regulatory clarity that brings a lot of business in, right? Most of those, are going to follow suit. Maybe they have to re-register. Maybe they have to do certain things in order to get these tokens relisted on those particular country-specific exchanges. But again, cold storage is your best option, guys. With Casper, one of the things, again, I love about Ledger is you don't see it in your Ledger Live account, but if you connect to CSPR.live, which is where you're going to want to put your tokens anyway, right? Because they're in Uphold, you're earning zero. You're earning zilch on that. They're paying you over 10% APY in Casper, on your Casper, if you stake it in the native pool. And this is not lending out your tokens. Casper is a POS, or proof of stake protocol, meaning that you are helping secure the network by staking your tokens with a delegator, right? So what I'd be doing is taking your ledger, staking them in the pool there. The best thing about it is you don't have an additional set of seed phrases when you use your ledger. Ledger just automatically sucks that all in, right? And every time you connect, you just pop in your PIN and that connects you back into your wallet, right? If you don't have a ledger, then you're going to want to go with the third-party Casper wallet, right? Go with the decentralized option if it's offered, right? So there's the Casper wallet from TeamMake. It's a great wallet. The mobile wallet actually just got another upgrade, a second round of upgrades, really good feedback from users. And you can, again, use that wallet to stake if you want to. But if you have a cold storage device, it is the best and easiest option to stake in that pool, right? And also just, again, prevents you from having your funds hacked, stolen, lost, all that good stuff. So get them out of Uphold. Even if you don't want to stake them, get them out of Uphold. They don't deserve your tokens.
Right, Matty. So here are the tokens that are getting off Uphold: XDC, CAS, Doge, Casper, HBAR, XLM, ADA, SHIB, Injective, VeChain. These are all cryptos that if you're in the crypto charge community, you're probably buying. But even if you're in the broader scape of the ecosystem, you're going to be affected by some of these cryptos that if you're buying these on Uphold, you're getting liquidated in 30 days. And I love this, Matty, and I was telling you this before the show. I love that this came out, and you're like, why do you love this? I'm like, this goes back to everything that you've preached since day one, taking control of your assets, which is one of the reasons why we're investing in crypto, is we're able to hold our cryptos. One of the reasons, we want to make money off crypto. But we are able, it doesn't matter if you're a beginner or an expert, you have to have your crypto off exchanges. You have to have it in your ledger, in your Trezor, whatever cold storage device you have where you have your seed phrases, you have to have that. And I know, Matty, this whole year you've gone on crazy rants, whether it's just talking about cold storage or whether you were ranting about Uphold itself because of the shady things that they were doing at the top of this year. Whatever the case may be, team, you have to have your crypto on a ledger or any other exchange. And I wanted to pinpoint something else, Matty. You said this a lot, and it's like, when it comes to selling your exit strategy with cryptos, look to the exchange you bought them from, which is great advice. In some of my cases, right, and maybe this may be for you too, Matty, I bought a lot of my cryptos on KuCoin, which is an exchange I don't have access to anymore, where I was buying my XRP, where I was buying my Casper, and I no longer have access to KuCoin anymore. How different would it have been for me if I just left my assets in KuCoin? Yeah, I could have withdrawn to, but where? Another exchange? Casper is even available on Coinbase, Matty. So thank you for all that. Do you have anything to say about that? I know I just went on a little spiel, but
no,
you're good. A great point.
It's I think that it's one of the main reasons why I've tried to advise my team out of KuCoin altogether, because technically, if you use a VPN, you can still get access and do stuff on KuCoin. Yep. What I would hate to see happen for anybody is that KuCoin gets some sort of subpoena from the US and they're like, freeze every account that's associated with a US IP address until further notice, right? That would absolutely suck. Yeah, maybe you get them back. Maybe it's a month. Maybe it's a year. Maybe it's 2 years. Maybe you miss the whole bull run and you don't get access to your assets until we're back in the bear market, right? It's not worth the convenience to me, right? And I think that's why a lot of you guys get into this panic cycle, is because you're like, I keep everything on exchange. If this exchange goes down, where am I going to put my stuff, right? Like, it's the equivalent of just like, I would rather have all of my belongings in my own pocket, right? And that way I know where things are, right? And I have the ability to take them to any marketplace I want to. So, I know I've talked about cold storage a lot. I hate that Uphold is not only delisting, but liquidating if you are a Canadian resident. If you're a Canadian restaurant, you're screwed. No, they will be liquidating your assets within 30 days, right? So it's going to be sad. There's going to be schmucks who don't check their email or just, gets buried in their email. They're not going to see the Uphold's going to be selling their stuff. And they're going to wake up one day, they're going to have their CAD in there, their Canadian dollars, but all their assets are going to be gone, right? How sad would you be if you just had a DCA on, you had no idea, you didn't check your email, you go in, you think you got 200,000 Casper, you wake up and the Casper's at 50 cents, 66, 70 cents, and you're like, yeah, let's go, let's sell some Casper. And it's gone. It's in USD at the value at, 4 or 5 cents today, right? I would be absolutely heartbroken if that ended up being the case for me, right? So don't let that be you. I'm not saying this is the case for every US exchange. I'm not saying this is the case for every exchange, but why take the risk when you have other options? Even if it's not cold storage, choose a decentralized option. Make it an Exodus wallet. Make it even a MetaMask wallet, right? It's going to be leaps and bounds ahead of trusting an exchange wholeheartedly with your assets.
I love that, Maddie. All right, team. One announcement to cap off the show here. So, we are filming a Christmas edition show for you guys that is going to come out on Christmas. We did polls on every platform, and the consensus is for a 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time release. So, that's what we're doing Christmas Day, December 25th of this year, 2023, at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. You will get that show. Make sure you tune in. I think that's going to be a really good show. Maddie is going to be rating your guys' crypto portfolios. It's going to be great. So make sure you tap in with that. Anything to leave the team with here, Maddie? Because this is, we got one more show to go for the rest of the year here. But what do you have to say? Anything important to leave the team with?
Yeah, most importantly, get signed up for Crypto Charge, guys.
Yeah.
You know, I know a lot of you guys have been following for a while here. I'm starting to see you guys coming from the channel. I absolutely love it. I love the questions you guys are bringing. I love the conversations you guys are bringing. I love the challenging questions you guys bring too, right? I never want you guys to feel like you come in the group and you can only ask questions that you think that I'm going to answer in a positive light, right? We're here to communicate. We're here to grow. We're here to learn, right? And I want you guys to be a part of that. So remember, guys, 50% off using code YouTube. That's any membership. So that includes the annual membership. So, you know, you can pay $50 a month, or you can pay $41 a month if you go with the annual at $4.99 for the year. So code YouTube, whatever works for you. I hope to see you guys in there soon.
Love that. All right, Maddie, we're done for today. Team, we will see you on Christmas. Adios.